Finally, I'm home from school. Alright, let's see what homework I have tonight. Explain defamation? I don't know what that is. Why didn't we talk about this in class?
Hello, class. Today we're learning about defamation. Now, who
Wow,
can tell me what defamation?
This puzzle is really hard. Yeah, we didn't talk about any of that. So what do I do? Defamation. Oh, I know. I could just Google it.
Let me guess. You weren't paying attention in class, and now you're here to learn about defamation.
How'd you know?
Because I'm you, dude. I wasn't paying attention either. So can you explain it to me?
But the video title says what is defamation. Why don't you just tell me if you already know?
Yeah, what is defamation? I'm asking you. How much clearer can I get? What is defamation?
Well, I don't know. How do I find out?
I hate to say it, but by doing actual research.
What is defamation?
It's perfect. So what is defamation?
I'll show you.
Oxford Dictionary defines defamation as the act of making a statement, whether oral or written, about another person, entity, or otherwise sentient participant in the public discourse, which statement is
Oh my god, that guy is so boring. Let me explain it this way. Basically, he means that defamation is a false, written or spoken statement that damages someone's reputation. This broad definition serves as the baseline for thousands of lawsuits every year. There are two types of defamation: libel and slander. Libel is written defamation, whereas slander is spoken. Libel cases are usually handled at the state level and oftentimes cost huge amounts of money to participate in. They also require 5 main elements: defamation, identification, dissemination, actual malice or negligence, and damages. First, defamation. Real defaming things have to have been said. Common terms that lead to defamation cases are calling someone something like a murderer, a racist, or extortionist. Second, identification. Specific people or groups need to be identified in the statement. If someone said all journalists are racist, one specific journalist couldn't sue for defamation because it's too broad of a statement. But if someone said Joe Smith from the New York Times is a racist, that's specific identification. Number 3, dissemination. Dissemination is a fancy word for saying, was the statement openly published or communicated? If I were to overhear a private conversation of someone calling me a bad person, I couldn't sue because that statement wasn't published. But if they tweeted it publicly, then I could. The key is that it's published for everyone to see. Number 4, actual malice. This term was first introduced in the 1964 case, the New York Times v. Sullivan. This case decided that it wasn't enough for information to be wrong. They had to prove that there was intent behind the misinformation, aka actual malice. And finally, number 5, damages. There have to have been real and provable damage to one's reputation or character for a defamation case to be eligible. You may be thinking, so now that I know what 5 elements of defamation are on the plaintiff's side, what defenses can I use to protect myself if I'm sued for libel? And that's a great question. There are 3 main defenses: truth, privilege, and opinion. Truth is the most basic defense. If you're sued for defamation, you can argue that the information you published is true. If you're just bringing true actions to light, you didn't defame the person. They did it to themselves by committing those actions in the first place. Number 2, privilege. Now, there's 2 types of privilege: absolute privilege and qualified privilege. Absolute privilege is when you have a legal right to speak freely, like in a courtroom or legislative session. Qualified privilege protects statements made in good faith as long as there's no actual malice involved. This could be an official recommendation or report. And third, opinion. This defense protects statements made purely as opinion, not asserted as fact. Since opinion cannot be proven true or false, it is protected by the First Amendment. Alright, well, hopefully now you understand what defamation actually is.
What? Oh, I was not paying attention. Have you tried this puzzle? It's really hard.
I know, right? Wait, come on, that's not important right now.
Okay, well maybe you could just give me an example of defamation?
I mean, I could tell you more about New York Times v. Sullivan.
Sounds perfect.
In 1964, the New York Times ran an advertisement in support of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It described civil rights protests in Alabama, complimented Dr. King's leadership, and criticized officials for violating the rights of Black Americans. The ad contained small inaccuracies about those officials to the point where Public Safety Commissioner L.B. Sullivan felt that it presented him and his colleagues in a bad light. He wrote to the Times asking them to take down the ad, but when they refused, he took them to court. The court sided with him, so the New York Times appealed. The state Supreme Court also sided with Sullivan, so the New York Times took it all the way to the Supreme Court. Justice William Brennan opinionated that Sullivan didn't have enough proof to show that the Times had actual intent to spread lies, that it was just negligence. Therefore, the Times couldn't be guilty of libel because there was no actual malice involved. This created a legal precedent in cases going forward that there had to be provable intent behind the misinformation, a decision that continues to affect defamation cases today.
Well, all that happened like 100 years ago. How does this affect me now?
I'll show you. Are you ever scrolling on TikTok late at night, hours deep into a crazy rabbit hole, and you come across one of those videos where they're making the craziest claims you've ever heard?
Yeah, I'm watching one right now.
Timothy Chalamet likes to kick babies in the head.
See, Timmy could sue for defamation if, say, this costume roles in future movies. But the influencer could say that...
Okay, well, I heard from my ex's cousin's uncle that his friend heard that Timothy kicked some guy named Baby one time, and I just put 2 and 2 together and assumed.
Well, it's silly. Similar cases have tried this very defense against defamation, arguing that they were just negligent and there was no actual malice behind it. Cases just like this one, and that one.
Alright, I think I finally understand defamation. Let's get started on that midterm.
Yay!
Don't you forget about me.